fishing, it's in my soul.
Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
Can we dissect your best fishing spots? Well, truth is, we probably already are. Hey, everybody, Joe Simons, Like Diamonds, back again here on the Salt Strong Podcast, and we're talking about fishing spot dissections. If you're not familiar with that term, it's something we've been doing now for 5 years, if you can believe it. I look back to see when we first started these, and it was about 5 years ago, and we've done at least one a week for 5 years. So you can do the math. That's a lot of spot dissections, and I'll talk about what that is and how this is going to benefit you. More recently, we've been doing like 5 a week, if not more. And the reason why is because it keeps working and our members are clicking on it and engaging with it like crazy. And what a spot dissection is, for those of you who might not be members, or maybe you're a member and you haven't seen them yet and are lost on what I'm talking about, but it's where we get on a satellite map. A lot of times we'll use the Smart Fishing Spots software because it's got that 4K satellite resolution. And we'll get on the map and just pick a spot. Let's just say Marco Island, or it's an area of Marco, or Naples, or Corpus Christi, Texas, or Galveston, and or anywhere in between. Obviously, we're picking a new spot every time, and we get on the map and just walk through all of the hidden honey holes and the hidden structure, and how to find oyster, like the oyster bars and types of structure that most people miss. And then take it a step further. So it's a focus on, the best type of spots in that area. But then we break it down by seasons, right? Like, hey, this area is going to be great during the winter, or this area is going to be great during the summer, the spring. And you're going to want to fish it this way, meaning you're going to want to position your boat, your kayak, or your wading boots this way and fish it here on an outgoing tide or incoming. Or, hey, this little pocket here is going to be really, really good at high tide. Or, hey, this one over here is going to be really good at low tide, right? Because spots change, right? I mean, obviously it changes on season, and certainly it changes on the different tide cycles and even moon phases. So it's so valuable to see a coach walk you through that. And what we found is that people are watching these, even if they don't live in that area, even if it's not the same state, because you can learn so much from watching someone like a Tony or a Luke or a Wyatt do this. It's I learn from them every time, and it's fascinating to see the little things that they pick up, and the little nuances that most people miss in terms of finding the right spot at the right time. That's what a spot dissection is. So it's a dissection using satellite maps of an area to find the best fishing spots. And then many times even saying, hey, like you would want to use, a jig head with a power prawn, let's just say, or you're going to want to use, a Haas Helix hook, like, get something light, like a 1/8 ounce on a mulligan or a slam shaded 2.0 in this area. And you're going to want to skip it up under here. I mean, they're literally giving you the blueprint on how to fish an area. And no one's really done this before. I mean, it's not something you see on YouTube, certainly. And it's, for one, it's incredibly invaluable, and most people don't want to give away their spots like that. And that's why we reserve this only for our insider members. But if you haven't joined, I would join right now just for that alone. We've looked at this, as I said, for the last 5 years, doing one a week at least, sometimes multiple, and more recently, more like 5 a week. And we have a pretty massive library. I think we've covered like every major city at least once, if not 3 times. Like, for instance, Tampa's got like 8 or 9 of them, right? Because it's a big bay, and there's a lot of different areas of Tampa. You don't just cover all of Tampa Bay in one video. So it's broken out. Like, we got South Tampa, and then you've got the northern part of Tampa Bay, and then you have down in Ruskin and Cockroach and E.G. Simmons area. Is a separate one, and then going up to St. Pete, like near the beaches, so you can do this for the beach fishing. So valuable. But here's why I brought this up. We were looking at numbers. This is for 2023, so just talking about what is working now, and we make our decisions on our content just not just by guessing and not by hoping and praying we get it right. We look at the data. We look at what people are clicking on. We look at what people are engaging with and asking questions with, and total views on all this content, because that obviously means people like it and they usually want more of it. And many times we'll say in the comments, hey, I want more of this, or hey, can you do a spot dissection for Charleston, which we've done, by the way. Or hey, can you do one here in this area, New Braunfels, Texas, or whatever it is? And we'll usually, like in the next week or two, we'll do it. So if you want to see your area dissected, and if we haven't done one for you yet, certainly go in there and in any of this past spot dissection and ask us, and that email will come to us, and we will add that to the list. Or just shoot me a message. I always love hearing feedback, especially if you guys like the spot dissections, which is kind of my next question. Do you love these? Because it's looking like you do. And here's the irony: for the longest time, I'm talking years, the thing that has really gotten the most clicks and most interaction have been the on the water reports. And it started with Luke and Tony, I guess 6 years ago, that's when that started, where they would go fish a new spot every single week and report back everything to our members, including, where they launched their boat or kayak, or if it was, from shore-based land-based fishing, or not, or sometimes even on the beach. We've done a few beach and wade fishing on the water reports. And then we would show where we caught fish, exact spots, and show the footage. So you're getting to see everything. It's truly behind the scenes. This is the stuff that the YouTubers leave out because they don't want everyone to know exactly where they're fishing, and you don't get to see all the small little details that are so important, like even the boat positioning. And do you cast up, current, down current, into the wind? All these little small things that add up. Even the sink rate, right? In terms of where the depth of where you want your lure or your live bait. But all this stuff we're showing in these on the water reports, and they've just been crushing it for years and years and years. This is the first year ever that the spot dissections are now beating the on the water reports on everything, in terms of clicks, in terms of views, in terms of interaction. And I was like, that's so interesting that the majority of our members, we're obviously the on the water reports are still doing well. We're going to still continue to do them because we like them, and they're super helpful to see someone actually fish a real spot, especially if it's in your backyard. But it's so wild that these spot dissections are just absolutely crushing it. So I'd love to hear from you. My private email is Joe, Joe, at saltstrong.com. So if you're a member, let me know your thoughts on these spot dissections. And if there's areas you want us to target, we've done a couple of, they're almost like full length courses on spots. We did one for all of Mosquito Lagoon and Indian River. If you don't know about that, it's right there in your courses tab. And if you're wondering how to see all the spot dissections in one place, you go to the map. So you go to community.saltstrong.com and then click on the map. This is, by the way, this is what you should be using for everything. And we are going to be changing things around, where we're going to take some notes from like Zillow, right? If you go to Zillow on your phone, what pulls up? It's a map, right? And it starts usually wherever you are, or wherever you search last, and you get to see these little pins, on streets and on areas, and those are houses for sale or for rent or whatever you happen to be looking into. We're going to do the same thing and really kind of have this map as the focus, because the map is where everything is. And so this map is, it shows so much. It's got 67, maybe 70,000 pins now, and it's showing every report that our members have done, every report that we've done. It shows all spot dissections, and up at the top, there's a little filter where you can filter just to see spot dissections. And I think they're yellow pins. So it'll show you every yellow pin in the entire country that we've done. And so start there and, see what we've done and check out your area. And if there's a certain specific bay or a spot that you want us to dissect, let us know. Shoot me an email and I'll forward it on to the right people. But I also want your feedback in terms of, do you guys like these? Do you want us to do more? Do you want us to do 10 a week instead of 1 or 2 or 5? Do you want us to do more of these than on the water reports? Really just trying to figure out what you value most with this and what you love seeing. I love the spot dissections. For a lot of reasons. One, it's something we all have to do. The on the water stuff is cool. The on the water stuff is amazing. It takes obviously a whole lot more time. And, there's some days that are going to be just completely different, or the thing's going to be way out of, your, even out of your, something you're ever going to do, right? If you don't own a boat and it happens to be an on the water boating tip, it's still relevant. You can certainly still learn from it, but it's tough to put yourself in the shoes of the boater if you're never going to fish that spot in a boat. It's certainly a little bit different to kayak or fishing from shore. So I get that part. But the spot dissections, we go over everything. Like, hey, here's a good area to fish from shore, and there's tips for everyone. But more importantly, you're learning how to pick out the spots and how to pick out and find hidden structure that most anglers miss, so that you can recreate that over and over again. To me, it's one of the quickest ways to become a great angler. And a great angler is someone who can pick out the right spot at the right time. That's really what it comes down to. You certainly, you need to know how to tie knots. You need to know how to rig baits and lures. But if you can't put yourself in the right spot at the right time, you're not ever going to be a great angler. I mean, that's the number one thing. Similar if you were in the Olympics and trying to break a record on running, cool. The shoes, all that stuff kind of matters. Maybe even your haircut matters. All that stuff matters. But if you can't run fast, you ain't going to win. And so this is the running fast. Being able to pick out a good fishing spot fast, that 90-10 zone, being able to find that fast is the number one most critical factor. We talked about that, 2 podcasts ago, Luke and I did. It's the number one thing that'll make or break your day. The lures and the baits, the nice boat or kayak and your reels and rods, none of that stuff really matters in the big scheme of things if you can't put yourself in the right spot at the right time. So that's what the spot dissections do. I'd love your feedback, joe@saltstrong.com. This will be a short one, just because it was something we just talked about in a meeting, and I wanted to get this out there and get more feedback from you all. And like I said, if you ain't a member, join today just for this. I know we have a lot of cool things in our club, from the tackle discounts to the smart fishing spots itself, to all of the awesome things that happen in the community. And we're doing some massive giveaways now. But these spot dissections alone, just that library is worth the price of admission. And if you haven't joined, go to saltwater.com. You'll see a place up there to join the club, and we'd love to see you in there today. Otherwise, guys, appreciate you, and I'll talk to you on the next episode.
'Cause fishing, it's in my soul, it was